So hello and welcome to yet another episode of TopTenz. I'm your host Karl Smallwood, that's my real name, make fun of it in the comments if you feel so inclined. And today we're talking about 10 places in the world that are seemingly frozen in time. And as with all of the videos on this channel, this one is based on a script submitted by a member of our writing team, Himanshu Sharma. Follow them on social media links below if they provided them for us, but otherwise, let's get to it. From Rome to Cairo to Beijing, some of the oldest settlements in the world are still in a perpetual state of change, where the remnants of the past continue to be replaced by parts of the present to give them their unique historical look. Then there are those places that seem stuck in time, either due to abandonment or neglect, or indeed a host of many other reasons, giving us a rare glimpse into the past when they were either thriving communities, industrial settlements, or indeed something altogether more sinister. Here are 10 of the most noteworthy examples. And as an aside, I know my pronunciation in videos is not the best, but I have looked up pronunciation guides for some of the more difficult words. Bear with me folks, I'm trying my best. Number 10, Bod, California. So Bod, California was once a busy mining town during the gold rush period of the late 19th century, with a population nearing some 10,000 people with well over 2,000 buildings. Much like the gold rush though, the peak was short-lived, with many of the mines rapidly depleting in supplies by 1881 and multiple fires devastating many parts of the town in subsequent years. Today Bod is one of the largest and best preserved and so-called ghost towns in the United States. Like literally you can just go there and there's just lying on the ground from 100 years ago. There's no one thought to move because it literally wasn't worth it. In 1962, the California Department of Parks and Recreation took over Bod, implementing a preservation strategy they called arrested decay. Essentially, government mandated not giving a shit. So when the town's last residents departed, they made sure that the interiors and structures across the town were left completely untouched, including about 200 buildings like hotels, a jail, a church, and the Standard Stamp Mill. Today, visitors can explore the town and take daily tours to learn about the gold extraction process. But let's say you want to learn about a seedier aspect of that time in history. Well, for that, you need to go to number 9, the Oasis Bordell Museum in Idaho. The Oasis Bordell Museum in Wallace, Idaho is a glimpse into an illegal mining town brothel that operated at the property until 1988. This establishment, then run by one awesomely named Madam Ginger, saw a lot of, shall we say, activity each and every day, with every worker attending to an average of 40 customers per day. Wallace itself was a busy mining community during the turn of the century, although it did have a gender imbalance of about 200 men to every single woman. I know every woman watching this has just cringed and just like, that is their nightmare. The museum has preserved the rooms and artifacts left behind by, the employees of the brothel, allowing visitors to see everyday details of their lives, from lingerie to nail polish and even lists of clientele. And this is what really makes the museum so unique, is it gives you a glimpse into just like the minor details and day-to-day life of the workers of the bordello. And it's worth noting as well that Madam Ginger wasn't just a bordello owner, she was a big part of the community, because you can see evidence of the fact that she contributed towards the local school's marching band uniform while she operated it. The operation was ultimately shut down after an FBI raid in 1988. Poor Madam Ginger. Number 8, Leningradsky Antarctica. Located in the Victoria Land region of, you guessed it, Antarctica, Leningradsky Research Center dates back to the Soviet era of scientific exploration in Antarctica, if the name Leningradsky did not already give that away. It was established in 1971 by the Soviet Antarctic expedition, serving as an important research base for about 2 decades in fields like meteorology, magnetism, and oceanology. The station sits atop a rocky outcrop and operated pretty much continuously from inception until about 1991, before it was abandoned due to the dissolution of the Soviet Union, its high cost of maintenance, and its, remote location. In the years since, Leningradsky has changed little from its active days, as most of its structures and equipment remain largely untouched. And owing to the icy weather and temperatures of Antarctica, pretty much everything inside the research base is as it was when it was abandoned in 1991. In more recent years, the Russian Antarctic expedition has considered reopening Leningradsky for research purposes, but as of now, it remains closed and inoperative. I'd say, to the public, but I'm guessing there's nothing stopping you from going there. Number 7, Pripyat, Ukraine. Once a bustling city near the Chernobyl nuclear power plant in Ukraine, Pripyat is now a ghost town due to what I'd hope would be pretty obvious reasons.
A nuclear accident.
Radioactive fallout.
That explosion at a nuclear plant in the Soviet Union.
If for some reason you don't know what I'm talking about, the nuclear power plant suffered a catastrophic failure which rendered the surrounding area completely inhospitable. The city was heavily affected by radiation and promptly abandoned by all of its residents. This sudden evacuation left Pripyat abandoned and resulted in a unique city-forest environment that has remained almost the same for almost a quarter of a century. Pripyat used to house some 50,000 residents, and visitors can still explore the ruins that were the everyday lives of the people in the town, including an abandoned amusement park with decaying bumper cars and the now iconic Ferris wheel. Most of the people watching this likely recognise from that one mission in Call of Duty. You know, the one where you're playing as like Price and you are just like cashing checks and snapping dog necks. Like that mission on Veteran was so difficult when it's just endless dogs leaping at you. It's like, why does the enemy sending so many dogs? Why is this mission just me getting like attacked by dogs and just like, Kya! Anyway, while radiation levels are still quite a big concern for the entire region, few tours are allowed for brief periods, as Ukrainian authorities claim that visiting Chernobyl exposes tourists to less radiation than a routine X-ray. The country now wants to actually designate parts of the 1,000 square mile Chernobyl exclusion zone, including Pripyat, as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Get on it. Number 6, Oriosuran, France. Oriosuran is a rural town in central France which was the site of one of many horrific atrocities committed during the Second World War. On June 10, 1944, exactly 2 years after something similar happened in the Czechoslovakian village of Lidéš, German Waffen-SS troops massacred 642 men, women and children living in the town. The reason for the German attack is still the subject of heated debate among scholars and historians. Some suggest it was a reprisal attack for the assassination of SS Sturmbannführer Helmut Kampf, while others suggest that the town was just unfortunate to be en route to Normandy in the early phases of the war, and that the Nazis just burned it down and killed everyone there because they were Nazis. Regardless of the motive, the village was almost completely destroyed during the raid. After the war, the ruins of the village were carefully preserved by the French government to serve as a reminder of the horrors of the war. Spread across about 40 acres, the site receives hundreds of thousands of visitors annually and is maintained by the Ministry of Culture in France. Number 5, the Oldtown Museum in Denmark. Located in central Aarhus in the eastern Jutland region of Denmark, Den Gamle By, also called the Oldtown Museum, is an open-air museum built to replicate the historical eras of the country, from the late 19th century to the 1970s. The museum features over 70 half-timbered houses brought from all over Denmark, some of them reconstructed to exactly resemble a provincial market town from the period of Hans Christian Andersen. If you want to visit, you can hop onto one of the many horse-drawn wagons riding around the site during most hours. Every building, store and workshop houses craftsmen and other skilled workers practicing their trades exactly as they would have done in their respective era. The central museum is made up of many smaller museums like the Danish Poster Museum, the Toy Museum and the Gallery of Decorative Arts. It's also, understandably, very popular at Christmas time. Number 4, Vicha salt mine in Poland. Dating back to the Middle Ages, the Vicha salt mine, now a UNESCO World Heritage Site, attracts over 1 million visitors annually. And that mine served as a crucial resource for Poland's economy at the time, producing table salt from the 13th century all the way until 2006, when it was transformed into a tourist attraction. Today, one can see intricate statues, chandeliers, and entire chapels made from salt blocks designed by skilled miners turned salt sculptors. The central attraction is inarguably the underground cathedral called the Chapel of the St. Kinga, complete with a statue of Pope John Paul II and a depiction of the Last Supper, yes, made of salt. And that to me is just very funny because, yeah, Jesus claimed to turn a man into a pillar of salt, but those artisans turn a pile of salt into Jesus. Anyway, according to the legends, the place is full of hidden treasures and supernatural spooky activity, which wouldn't make sense because salt's supposed to scare away demons. If anything, it should be the least haunted place on earth if I know anything about ghost lore. Today, the Vicha salt mine doubles as a cultural venue for events, concerts, exhibitions, and even weddings. Some even say that the microclimate present within the mine, with its humidity and airborne salt particles, actually holds therapeutic properties, especially for those with respiratory conditions. Number 3, Tyneham in the UK. In December 1943, all the residents of Tyneham in Dorset in the UK were abruptly forced to evacuate within 28 days as part of the British military preparations for D-Day. The sudden departure left the village deserted with its once thriving community of farmers and fishermen, gone pretty much overnight. Today, Tyneham remains part of the Lulworth firing ranges owned by the Ministry of Defence. While tourists can still visit the town, it's still not accessible 24/7 due to sporadic military training exercises and limited road access. Regardless, one can still see many parts of regular town life from before and during the Second World War throughout the town, including the village's telephone kiosk and a 1929 K1 Mark 236. Much of the town's appearance has been restored by the authorities to give it a historic, frozen-in-time look. The village church, for example, still displays the villagers' daily lives during the time, including a letter pinned to its door from 1943 that promises the return of all of its residents. That never actually happened. And this is largely because the location remained in use by the military after the beginning of the Cold War. And for anyone out there who just for some reason wants to go visit a British town that hasn't changed since the 1940s, you can just go visit Doncaster. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say one of my favourite jokes about Doncaster, which sucks ass, which is during World War II, the Germans, they made it quite far inland and managed to bomb Doncaster, causing over £1 million worth of improvements. Thing is though, I don't care if anyone from Doncaster doesn't like this. My dad works there and every time he comes home he's like, I hate it. I hate it, son. Number 2, Parque El Capricho Bunker in Spain. The Parque El Capricho Bunker is located in the Capricho Park in Madrid, Spain. While the park was originally commissioned by the Duchess of Osuna between 1787 and 1839, it turned into a major centre of Republican activity during the Spanish Civil War, resulting in the building of a secure, underground bunker that exists in its original form to this day. The bunker, also known as the Posición Jacar, provided refuge to many high-ranking Republicans defending Madrid from nationalist forces. Concealed beneath many layers of soil, the subterranean space could accommodate up to 200 people for an extended, near indefinite period of time, complete with amenities like toilets, officers, and electricity. That was a newfangled thing at the time, and it boasts such features as a ventilation chimney and interconnected communications systems, further ensuring the safety and connection with the outside world for all the people inside. It's getting big Terminator 3 vibes here. And number 1, Havana, Cuba. Havana, Cuba is one of the few cities around the world that seem to be quite literally stuck in time. One can still walk around and spot photographers around the city documenting its colonial buildings and vintage cars, earning the old town of Havana the designation of a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Much of the old look of Havana can be attributed to the continuous US embargo that limits the city's access to many modern alternatives. For example, according to some reports, Havana is home to around 60,000 Pontiacs, Buicks and Fords dating back decades ago, many of them repurposed and repainted multiple times to preserve their functionality. And despite the visual appeal and old town charm of Havana, there's still some issues that arise from not having access to modern amenities. For example, it's unbearably hot because they don't have AC, they have a lack of internet connectivity because no internet, and they have a strictly cash-based economy because no Apple Pay. So, swings and roundabouts. So thank you to everyone for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I certainly enjoyed hosting it. And as a reminder, this video is based on a script provided to us by Himanshu Sharma. Find links to their socials below. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you've got anything to say about it or suggestions for something else we could cover, do so in the comments below. And if you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to TopTenz and our sister channels, Biographics and Geographics, where I'm also serving as the interim host. Unless you keep yelling at me in the comments, then they'll fire me. That's definitely what's going to happen. Anyway, thank you to everyone for watching, and as I always like to say, have the day you all deserve. I just had videos up telling me how to pronounce some of the words, so I'm trying.